Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ear Hustling Podcast. Definitely want to thank our special guest, Al. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Certainly, gentlemen.
And of course, we have Mr. Consistency, Mr. Millennial, the
Yes.
man himself, Princeton.
Hey, hello. I hope you're doing well. I like once again, just like you said, I want to thank Alvin for coming on. Know he's been on the show before, so thank you for coming on.
Certainly.
As you see, it's a little emptier than usual. Usually we have about 5 people up here, so you're filling in, and I'm also glad that you decided to take on the role that my dad usually plays as the old person here. What people I gotta call you out before we started. Alvin was trying to hook up. He got on the podcast. He was looking at his phone. He's like, I can't hear you guys. I can't hear you. He was trying to figure it out. So I'm glad you took on that role.
It took me less than a minute to get it together.
Oh yeah.
I assessed the situation properly and rectified the issue.
I can't believe that you just actually just called him out like that.
Oh, of
Right.
course.
Damn.
Starting off,
Oh,
shots
Yeah,
fired. Bang,
we
bang.
want to we want to make him feel welcome, like
Right.
he would want to come back on the show. We're not trying to.
Hell of
this
a
is how
welcome.
he knows he's welcome. I pull these jokes on everyone, so that's how
Yeah.
you know. Just like family.
I'm the same way. If I don't give you a little hard time, then that's when you worry. So,
Yeah, now then you
you
know something's up.
Well, I think that the next time you see him, I think you should hem him up.
well, we gonna put it. If I can't admit to, things that
That's right.
not
Yeah,
on
we
camera.
are on it.
It's a different day. We ain't allowed to like smack kids anymore.
Right, right,
For discipline,
right.
purposes. So nope, I get it. I get it.
I want to get canceled.
No, well, there's so many things that are being canceled now, man. Yeah, I think we all better be careful.
Right.
For one, who's the most recent person of the cancel club? It's probably Drake, but we'll talk about that a little
Oh,
later.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So speaking of which, so today's show we're gonna be talking about the Super Bowl, pretty much everything to do with it. Uh, I'm gonna just start us off with an easy one. How'd you two start with you, Eric? How'd you feel about the game? Just overall, who'd you want to win first of all, and were you happy with the game? How it went? Boring? How'd you feel about it?
Oh, I was very happy with the game. My whole thing was anybody but Kansas City.
Oh,
After the Lions got eliminated, it was like anybody but Kansas City. And you just kind of get bored with folks winning all the time. People were saying the same thing about Brady when he had his run of all of those Super Bowls. So right now, Philly and Kansas City in the Super Bowl matchup, they're 1-1 because Jalen Hurts, this is his second Super Bowl appearance. So it's almost in my mind, it's almost kind of scripted like how WWE is. And at the beginning of the Super Bowl, if y'all notice, the same old bullshit with the referees and these questionable calls happen. And I was like, oh, here we go again. I'm like, just going ahead and just put the trophy on the Kansas City side. But yeah, that game, I was honestly very surprised that Kansas City just got demolished like that.
W script. How'd you feel? How'd you feel about the game overall? And who'd you want to win? I think
I,
we heard from Eric.
I really didn't care who won.
Okay.
I was just more so just happy it was a Super Bowl. Period. Just that the fact that it's the last game. So I really didn't. I was actually as far as my sports betting, I was I blew that was totally destroyed as far as what I was expecting. At first, I didn't want to go, I didn't want to take the money line as far as a straight winner. So I'm just doing, then I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't know if it's going to be a defensive game. Overall, I was like, I wanted Philly more than Kansas City. I wasn't, with the same narrative that, because I kind of, if they got a three-peat, that would have been kind of cool, the first three-peat ever, and it would have been
Exactly.
Patrick Mahomes, and that's kind of, I guess to the tune where, that's how you're really good. People either really, going for you, that's a real fan, or people that's even just you getting casual hate now, and that shows that you're kind of, one of those guys. So, I was pretty, still surprised that, especially you say how they started off the refs kind of being, not favorable, but the regular refs that ref for Kansas City games. But after a while, I'm like, wow, that defensive line for Philly. I mean, that was me without even blitzing. So it was good to watch for a defensive match. I mean, a defensive showing on their side. So it was pretty cool. I would say overall, you got some exciting plays. So overall, I mean, cool Super Bowl.
One team played defense. I think one team
right.
played defense. I also wanted, the Chiefs to win for the same reasons you really outlined. I wanted to see the three-peat. I wanted to see history. It's so crazy to me how quickly I feel like the online narrative at least changed, where like 3 years ago, everybody was I won't say rooting for the Chiefs, but you saw a lot more people were cool with Mahomes, wanted to see kind of the Chiefs win. And now it's just like, I feel like there's more people like Eric who are just kind of hate watching, if you will. And it's like, oh no, not the winners, not people who are showing greatness. So I don't know.
Look, let me explain it to you this way. Patrick Mahomes is like what you and Patrick are roughly about the same age, right? Or maybe you're a little younger than Patrick.
He's just got a couple more Super Bowls than me.
All right, so you think about the fact that this guy, and I'm not hating on him at all, he's got some wonderful accomplishments. So he's got 3 Super Bowl rings already. He's part owner of the Kansas City baseball team. Man has tons of investments. He was born from an athletic family. I believe his dad won a World Series with the Minnesota Twins. Nice looking wife, cute kid. You know what? At some point, okay, all right. Now this is just kind of over.
Okay,
Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift. I mean, hell, Patrick Mahomes probably is the most popular person in the league. The only person who's more popular than him is Taylor Swift. And so, I mean, you just come on out. I mean, God, can you sprinkle and spread things out just a little bit more?
Gotcha. Okay, that's where you're coming from.
So it's like, I'm sorry, Al, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I did get a little bit of joy too, knowing that Philly beat Andy Reid. So him being the former coach. So I was looking at that as he already beat him once. So I was kind of cool that Philly got a little get back against the old coach. He already got his victory champagne first go round. So now they kind of got it back against him. So that was cool.
Well, that leads me to my next question for you guys then. So does this game, with the dominance performance that the Eagles had, do you feel like this says more about the Chiefs, or did it say more about the Eagles? Did the Chiefs fall apart, or do you think the Eagles were they were the best team? I'll start with you, Alvin.
I think it was more so about Philly, because this year Kansas City really never had. They kept winning, but they never really looked impressive. Whether you can try to say that they didn't have a receiving core because of whatever, or their inconsistencies as far as running backs, but it was never the dominant Kansas City that you've seen previously.
That's true.
On their runs. So as far as Philly, they held their own, and after they had the little kind of shaky start, and then they got to rolling after that bye week, so they kind of kept up. I think teams they kept playing the level they were playing throughout the season. So, and I think Philly was playing at a higher level during the season, and that continued throughout the playoffs. As far as Kansas City, kind of as we previously alluded to, the refs kind of always always getting something to kind of consistently throughout, and it finally stopped. It seemed and Philly just played consistently better. Like I say, defense definitely stepped up. I mean, Saquon, without even having the monstrous games he's had previously in the last couple of weeks. So overall, I just think at each level, Philly just played better. So I would say it's definitely more so Philly. They outshined them. It made Kansas City almost just look like blah. So you're not used to seeing Patrick like that. So that's especially in I expected Hopkins. I'm like, you done bounced around forever. You had a great
this was an opportunity. Yeah.
I would expect you to, there was a couple. I'm like, dude, this is what you do in the Super Bowl?
Right.
Yes, I would definitely say it said more about Philly, I would say.
Okay. And Eric, before you jump in and give your answer, would you mind adjusting the screen a little bit, adjusting your screen. Our viewers are having a hard time getting a look at you. We want to see that wonderful face.
Oh boy, you know what? I'm sure that you
Ah,
set me up for something now.
no. That's great. That's great. But yeah, so how do you feel, Eric? How do you feel? Do you feel it was more the Chiefs just collapsing, or do you feel the Eagles were just the better team? They were built to stop them on all facets, if you will. Because Saquon, he didn't even go off. The Chiefs, they had a game plan, obviously, to stop the run, and they did that tremendously.
I think that they were. I think that both teams honestly were prepared, even though you might not have been able to tell that. I think that Philadelphia wanted it more than Kansas City. The same way that, I mean, because honestly, the Kansas City defense, as far as they run defense, they definitely held Saquon in check when the game was early. But it just got to a point where Philly was just like way more hungrier than Kansas City. So I don't think that they weren't prepared. I just think maybe they felt that they had a switch that they could turn it on and turn it off. But that wasn't the case. Them boys, man, it was like a jailbreak every time they came at Patrick Mahomes. They got to him without even a blitz. So
yeah,
to me, I think it was just like hunger and determination. Like, no, not this time. You're not about to make history against us.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And going along those lines, then. So do you feel like this is, if you will, the Eagles? They, everybody was talking about the Chiefs, but the Eagles, they've also been to 2 Super Bowls, now won one in the past 3 years. So now, do you think this is going to propel the Eagles into kind of a dynasty era where we're just going to be seeing them every year and they're going to be getting these wins? And on the same token, do you think the Chiefs dynasty is over, or will we be seeing them back? How do you feel, Eric?
If the Chiefs don't solve their offensive line problems, then I don't think we will be seeing them in the Super Bowl next year. They got to get that offensive line taken care of. So they did have injuries, and not creating any excuses for them. But you got to have a strong offensive line, especially with the top 3 teams coming out of the NFC. You're looking at the Minnesota Vikings have a great defense, the Lions have a great defense, and obviously Philly have a great defense. So if KC doesn't get their stuff together, they may get to the Super Bowl, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl against those 3 teams if all their defensive lines are healthy.
And what do you feel about the Eagles? Do you feel like this is a dynasty now, or can be a dynasty, and that we're going to continue to see them on top?
It can be a dynasty. Not going to lie to you, 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years. It very well could be a dynasty. And a lot of them guys are fairly young. And I don't think they have any like major contracts that they have to pony up for next season. So
I don't think so.
As long as that core stays together, Philadelphia has an opportunity to have a dynasty. I hope not, because if they do, that means that my Lions aren't going to the Super Bowl.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Alvin, how do you feel? Do you think we're going to continue to see the Eagles, or do you think there's going to be someone that can stop this team?
Man, so the Eagles of the past, when they had DeAndre Swift as a running back, you were like,
Georgia running back, another great Georgia running back.
Yeah, but as far as the NFL, he was, you weren't. Now you put Saquon in that mix, and now I know everybody, the Giants is like, I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but they had to be like, what were you thinking, But nevertheless, now with that, oh man, and like Eric said about the they got a lot of young players that, like I said, I don't think there's any, most times after you win a Super Bowl, you got, some not star players, but you got, a couple of your top tier players that probably don't look to go elsewhere. I done got my chip now, I can go somewhere else and get some money.
To get that money.
So, I don't think they have too many, key players at least that they have to worry about as far as that goes. So, I mean, with, barring, injury or something, like Jalen Hurts is young, and now he has that, chip, you got that experience, you got that feeling, so, is that, that could even, incite more hunger in them as they were already hungry, so that could even, I want another one of these, so if they flip that switch, I mean, I don't see what can, I'm not a fan of Sirianni that much as a coach, but obviously, he got them, all the way going. So, it could be, like I say, barring injury, that's going to be somebody to a lot of times, like I say, Super Bowl champions, they can have a fall off the next year. I realistically don't see, they should be rocking and rolling from the start. So, that's gonna be tough.
One thing you brought up there that I thought was key was Jalen Hurts, and now that he has that Super Bowl chip, how he has that experience. First of all, he's had the experience of getting there twice, and
Right.
now he has the experience of winning. But the funny thing to me is, at least through this season, I feel like, and through some of the previous seasons, you never really hear of Jalen Hurts in that upper echelon of quarterbacks in the league. You hear, of course, Patrick Mahomes, even though he's had a couple down years, Josh Allen, Lamar. These are and Joe Burrow, even though his team is trash. And these are the teams that the quarterbacks that you always hear about in the upper
tier
echelon.
one quarterbacks, essentially.
Are we going to start hearing Jalen Hurts? Is Jalen Hurts, first of all, is he upper echelon quarterback now? And are we going to continue to hear about him? Or is he just kind of a product of his team? Is it just like the team is so good, you put anyone back there?
He got a chip. He got to be now, because now he can be separated from some of the likes of the Lamars, and even though MVPs, now Joe Burrow MVP, but you don't got one of these,
That's
so
true.
that alone is going to have to separate him from some of them, because they not like us.
Right. yeah. That's
Okay.
right. Eric, you feel the same?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Talent wise, all of those guys who you named, I do think that they are more talented than Jalen Hurts. However, Jalen Hurts just separated himself, and I think he is right behind Mahomes if you want to put the entire career in context. I think Jalen Hurts has been in the league 4 years. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, won one. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrows went to a Super Bowl, but he's done something that these so-called elite quarterbacks hadn't did outside of Mahomes.
Right.
He's won the Super Bowl. I mean, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson hadn't got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, in this case, it's one of those situations like, all right, you know what? Talent-wise, he didn't close that gap. I can't call him a great quarterback yet, but he's definitely probably like top 5 to top 8.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. And sticking with quarterbacks, a lot of narrative I've seen online is that, and you know how quickly people's opinions changes online, but the narrative that I'm now seeing is everyone saying, Patrick Mahomes, he'll never reach Tom Brady now. He'll never reach the GOAT status. He can't be the greatest of all time, no matter what he does at this point, pretty much because he's put up 2 stinkers in the Super Bowl. People are feeling like with the way he performed, Tom Brady would never. You know how it gets. So how do you think that Patrick Mahomes is still in the? I know he's not in the. Well, a lot of people say he's right behind Brady. Do you feel like he can reach Brady still? Do you feel like he can pass him? Do you feel like these 2 stinkers kind of show something's off? What's the deal? I'll start with you, Eric.
Let me put this in context. Tom Brady's won 7 Super Bowls. Do you know that the majority of the Super Bowls he had, that he didn't throw a touchdown pass until the second half? Tom Brady has had some lackluster Super Bowl performances. He's won 7.
I think he alluded to it on this one too. My apologies.
Yeah,
he did. So Tom Brady hadn't won 7 MVPs, like Super Bowl MVPs.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: Tom Brady knows when to take over a game and when not to. Do I think that Mahomes is going to? It's really so hard to say. He's so young, and barring injuries, we could definitely put him in a conversation. I've seen Terry Bradshaw, who's won 4 Super Bowls, play. Matter of fact, I think Terry Bradshaw was 4-0 in Super Bowls. Joe Montana, same thing, undefeated in Super Bowls. Who else have I seen? Troy Aikman, who has 3 Super Bowls right along with Patrick Mahomes, was like a great quarterback. Hell, Steve Young won 2. There's just so many great quarterbacks that I've seen, and I've seen so many different errors. I don't think that it's impossible, but if they don't strengthen that offensive line, no, he's not going to win any more Super Bowls. Hell, I don't even think he's going to get to another Super Bowl. Now that everybody, if you got the right type of personnel and you've proved that you can just rush 4 people, think about how great that whole defense is. You've got like top rate corners, that Philadelphia had too. Their linebacker core was above average. So
They white corners too. They're
Right.
white.
yeah, for real. I hadn't seen a white corner in a minute.
That's
Yeah.
better than the $2 bill.
Exactly.
And them men were playing like they was playing like they was from the hood. They were
Hey,
they were
pick
like,
six on your birthday in the
oh,
Super
oh
Bowl.
yeah, oh yeah, you can't get better than that. But I think Patrick Mahomes has a chance. But one other thing I wanted to bring up about Tom Brady and those Super Bowls, he was in the league for 22 years. There was about a 6-year span where he didn't go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, so Mahomes has three Super Bowl victories like pretty early in his career. So there's probably going to be some sort of a down period where maybe they just make the playoffs. But nah, I don't know about calling him the greatest, but I don't say he's out of the conversation, especially considering how both Super Bowls that he lost, his offensive line was suspect.
How do you feel, Alvin? Do you feel like he could still be in that conversation?
Definitely still be in a conversation. He lost the Super Bowl. He ain't just, get 10 years older. He still can be in the, I mean, and it depends on, it's never going to be a universally accepted GOAT. So, he still can be a GOAT in his own right of whatever. Some people can still put him there. Well, I think what's going to be an important factor is going to be whoever the next coach is. Like the next phase of his career, because Andy Reid is going to be around too much longer. So he said, so he's only going to give around for probably a few more years. But regardless, still, as you say, he may have if hopefully he can have one of those, 15, 18, 20-year careers type, and that will still keep him relevant and still, like say the next phase of his career. You gotta be like, as the phase of a quarterback if it continues to play. This could be, break it up into however many years this has been. So, versus the next stage of his career, just how, everybody kind of evolves. So, but I like to say, I think it's really going to have to do like, O-line, get, a good solid,
receiving core,
running back too. I mean, receiving core, you can, you always you just need one really good receiver and a good tight end. You still got Kelsey, so but like I say, he can't just be removed off of it that easy because of what he did. Like I say, so every quarterback is then had some bad games and then shit the bed. So
I will say one thing that my dad brought up that might keep him out the GOAT conversation is he got picked off by a guy named Cooper. So, that is tough. Getting picked off by a guy named Cooper. That's like minus points on your GOAT combo. Last Super Bowl question I have for you guys, and feel free to ask any if you have them as well. But last one I have for you guys is way, way too early. 2026 Super Bowl predictions. Start with you, Eric. Who you got next year in the Super Bowl? I'm ready for it. So Lions versus who? Who you got? Because I know you're a homer.
Yeah, I'm a homer, but here's the thing: the Lions should have been there this year. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and run it back with the Lions. But damn, the opponents. Does this reignite Kansas City? Does this give the other teams in the AFC hope that they can beat Kansas City? Oh man, you know what? So definitely Detroit. I think Detroit versus Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati will not get off to a slow start this year, and Joe Burrow will not be hurt early in the season. And they're going to reestablish their running game, and they're going to still have both of their receivers. I think they're going to make some additions to their secondary too, because honestly, their defense is trash.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Cincinnati is going to sew up those holes, kind of like how Detroit did, like through the draft, through maybe a couple of surprise trades. But I'm thinking Detroit versus Cincinnati.
They might be losing a receiver over there in Cincinnati. I don't think they're keeping them both.
If they do lose them, they're going to sign them and then they're going to trade them. I think the NFL has a sign and trade.
All right, who you got, Alvin? Next year's 2026 Super Bowl. Who you got in there?
Definitely would like to see the trade. I mean, they should theoretically have a pretty stacked defense when everybody comes back, and I don't think you can, have those same everybody gets injured, 2 years in a
You would
row.
hope not. You would hope not.
That's terrible luck. But I still go. I think Philly still might dominate from the NFC, even still, like I say, with the way they're going. So I would say Philly running it back from the NFC. From the AFC. Man, this is just reaching with my heart. I think Lamar can finally get it together. I think
Mm.
Lamar can finally get it together. It's got some things he didn't worked out. So I would love to see them two go be quarterbacks, Lamar and Jalen Hurts against each
They
other in the Super Bowl. That'll be I think that'll be a great matchup. I think both teams will be matched pretty good coming up like that defense and offense. So
they'd have to get a new kicker. Other than that,
definitely,
and a new tight
definitely.
end. Let
They
them
could
go with a new tight end.
they could
Mark
hire
Andrews, yeah, I know. Hey, yeah, if he's still even in Baltimore,
Yeah, I'd be surprised. So my prediction for the 2026 Super Bowl was actually stolen by my dad. He predicted the same thing I was going to say, which is Buffalo versus Philly. I agree. That's also what I had. I think this loss that KC had, this might give the recipe that Josh Allen needed. Josh Allen might. I think it's about his time that he gets there, at least to the Super Bowl. And he said Buffalo is to Baltimore, like what KC is to Buffalo.
wow.
That's basically
That
saying
must have been
Josh Allen
that
is
must have
Lamar's
been
daddy. That's basically what he said. All right, well, that's the only questions I had concerning the Super Bowl, but that wasn't the only thing going on, of course. During the Sunday, we also had the halftime show. So I'll just start off with how'd you guys feel about the halftime show overall? Are you guys, I don't know, are you even a fan of hip hop, Eric? I don't know if you are now. Are you a fan of Kendrick, I should say? But did you enjoy
yeah.
the halftime show overall?
I'm a fan of Kendrick. I'm a fan of hip hop. I tell you, man, that I mean, he really made you put your thinking cap on because um, Kendrick is like the master of like subliminal messages, metaphors, and the fact that he got Samuel L. Jackson to play Uncle Sam
Yeah, yeah.
was something else. And if you guys remember Django,
I don't know who could forget.
okay, so it just the whole representation, the whole presentation. To me, I thought it was stellar. A lot of my non-African American friends didn't get it. We had to have a few conversations, and I kind of had to tell them, what was the meaning of some of the, some of the things he was trying to convey. And then after, oh, and then they watched it back, and then it all started to come together. So you could
Right,
watch that halftime show 5 times and pick up on 5 different things you missed.
right. Okay, and we're going to definitely about to get into that. But I just want to get thoughts on it first. And I didn't mean it as in, are you a fan of Kendrick Lamar? I just knew with your age, you grew up listening to old Negro spirituals. So I didn't know if like if you ever got to the hip hop phase. But
And while you being funny, let me just dial it back just a little bit for you. Did you know that Samuel L. Jackson was an usher at Martin Luther King's funeral?
I did not actually. Wow.
So,
Did you know
so
because you were there also?
yeah, I was there. I opened the door.
How'd you enjoy it? How'd you feel?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thoroughly enjoyed by it. I'm definitely a big hip hop fan, but my gripe is I kind of I wanted to hear a couple. We did everything off the new album, but I want to hear more
Yeah.
old stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my
Agreed.
only gripe about it. You know what I'm saying is that I wanted to, and I guess that's just me being a Kendrick fan. And that's like
Same.
you go to your favorite person's concert. You see them, and you always want to. You got your favorites, but that's not universally the favorite. So oh, you should have did. I
Right, right.
wasn't here. You know, but other than that, the representation of I like the aesthetics of it. You know what I'm saying? I like the the crowd, the messages. So definitely, it was sweet that he brought the Grand National out. So that
Hmm.
was sweet. And excuse me, I seen one of the little reels of the little secret passage of everybody hopping out. So
I didn't. I knew it had to be something. I didn't end up seeing how they did. I was like, it had to be.
Yeah, they showed the whole thing that they brought it out on. There's a door on the backside that people can go in the stairs and hop out. So it was pretty sweet. So I would say overall, I definitely like the Super Bowl halftime show. So
he's a performer. He's always going to put on something. I was saying with you. Honestly, I hadn't even really listened to Kendrick's newest album like that. I just do a lot of his old music. So when he was performing, I was like, man, I know some of these, but I'm like, man, where's all the old classics? So, but after rewatching it, I was like, I get it. So
chime in,
go ahead.
The reason why he performed a lot of his newer stuff is because when he was up under his old label, if he performs any of those songs, he has to give his previous company that he was signed up under a bigger cut. Not to get into the nerdy statistics, but from here on out, Kendrick Lamar gets 80% of whatever happens. Before then, he was having to give up like 25 or 30% of whatever he got. I think up until like 2 or 3 years ago. So that's the reason why he performed more of his newer stuff, because it was about money.
I didn't know that, actually. Wow. That's
being an old head.
Yeah, there you go. You need one of them, and I got 2 with me today. So, but along with what you were saying earlier, Eric, you were bringing up the hidden messages and how you had to explain them to some of your friends who might not have been of color or friends, period. But so what were some of those hidden messages that you picked up on or may have learned through the week watching videos? And what were your thoughts on him having those messages in the performance?
Well, I forgot the name of the book or the poem, but when they were saying that the revolution will not be televised, in this particular case, the revolution was televised. You picked the right person. I forgot to say you picked the wrong person.
The right one at the wrong time.
Yeah, the right one at the wrong time. That could have had a couple of different meanings. One, it could have been him because he's known as a rebel, Kendrick Lamar, and he's just not going to conform. But also Donald Trump was there too. And I think that it had a dual message, that Donald Trump was there. And it was like, yeah, if you didn't like a lot of the stuff that happened, you really ain't going to like this. And so those were the biggest nuggets that I had picked up on. Man, it was wild. I love the teasers that he was given throughout the performance, whether or not he was going to form.
I like that.
Yeah, that was dope.
I absolutely know that. Are you really going to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That right there was. I think that probably the craziest thing there is that I knew that him and Serena Williams used to date, but what was the young lady? Serge? What was her name?
SZA.
I didn't know he used to date her.
Drake, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said both of their names in a lot of songs. He's, he has that, energy. He mentions his exes a lot.
But I didn't know that. I'm like, this dude is diabolical. He is like, you know what? It was almost, and the way Serena was doing that crit walk. First of all, shout out to Serena. She looks fantastic.
That seems personal.
After those babies. I love that outfit she had on.
Didn't know you were a tennis enthusiast, but
I am now.
But one message that I saw online, I didn't pick up on this at first either, was also when he had all of his dancers behind him when they were standing in the U.S. flag. He was standing in the middle to show that it's a country. To show the country divided, and I didn't even pick up on that one at first. It kind of went over my head, and then another one that I knew this one. I caught this at the time, but looking back on it, I saw this too, was when he kept saying, I want to perform the song, but they're going to sue me. I want to perform the song because
they like to sue.
They like to sue. So I thought that was another neat one that he slipped in there. Was there any other ones that stood out to you, Alvin, that you might have saw or heard about?
I like the little reference to the PlayStation controller.
PlayStation controller. I missed that.
The triangle, the circle, the square, the X.
Oh,
and that was kind of set up You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of when it split everything, kind of like we breaking up the game, y'all trying to play. Yeah, that's when they kind of had everybody kind of situated from that was like from the drone view, when they kind of just went to the top and showed looking down and it showed, that's where you could kind of see it. So that was kind of sweet kind of, it was a lot of symbolism. But one thing that I did, like a lot of the symbolism, like sometimes if you overcomplicate it, you kind of, you're going to miss a lot of the intended targets that, of course we picked up on a lot of the stuff, but, the people who need to, I mean, most of them are going to be ignorant and want to, deny it when it's in their face.
That's true.
If you try to, make it too symbolic, is there, they're not going to, they wouldn't want to understand it anyway. So, I mean, it's a lose-lose, but, I don't know. I mean, I also feel like it's not my job to explain to, some of the non-melanated people, because, do your own research. I know what it is, so I don't know. It's all, I guess, how you, your perspective on, but, like I say, some of it, if you overcomplicate it, not saying that was overcomplicated because, the people who are, who he's talking to are, obviously understanding, but that's like, you got some of the other people who, hear a lot of our, talk in our vernacular, and they want to act so, I don't understand, but then they still want to, be a part of, our culture, so a lot of my tolerance for their interpretation is that's why I'm like, do your own research, but I love the symbolism that I picked up on, but like I say, overall to a lot of, millions of America watching, I'm sure a lot of, as we see, a lot of white people just,
just another rapper. I saw that narrative so much.
Don't even, it didn't even matter, because it's automatically going to be perceived as, just like you say, another, rapper would be nice. That's I hope the word I would hope they would use to describe them. But
they probably used another word.
That's what. Hopefully they just called him another rapper. But
so here's something my dad brought up that I guess the letters was supposed to be a code for unlimited lives in a game. So that's pretty interesting. And then what Samuel L. said too, scorekeeper deduct 1 life. That was heavy. So that's true. Samuel, there was a couple of times
when he was on the corner, he's like, we say don't be too loud, don't be too ghetto.
They were kind of under the
street.
At first, I thought he was gonna say something else because of
I
the way
thought
he paused.
Yeah.
He's like, don't be. I thought he was about to say a nigga. I was like, oh, is he gonna? I'm like, oh, is he gonna say? I'm like, oh, is he gonna say it?
Also, go ahead.
No, I was just wanted to say is that when he said deduct 1 life, it hit me a little differently because it seems like anytime that we get somebody, whether it's Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, Tupac, whoever, anytime you get somebody who can unify multiple races of people, something happens. And so
Nipsey.
Yep, Nipsey. So when he said deduct 1 life, that's what automatically where my mind had flipped to.
Right.
Damn.
And that's another thing. It has so much replay value. It's a lot of replay value in it. I've watched it that morning. The next morning, Monday morning, I watched it at least 4. Like I say, I'm still, right now, getting hip to certain things. So, that's cool. That a lot of things now, it's a microwave society. Everything now is just right now, in your face. So something that you can go back and still, watch and appreciate and still learn from in a short span of time. That's pretty cool overall. The whole, production of it, the whole message of it.
Also, I think something that's underrated in his performance was the fact that he self-censored himself in all of his songs, considering how much of his music and rap say like the N-word and have curse words in it, and he self-censored throughout the entire thing without slipping up. I thought that was. I mean,
but you're an artist. I would expect that. I would expect nothing less from artists of that stature. You're not some rapper that raps in a broom closet. So he's performed in front of thousands of people now. You know, so that's you know, I can't give credit to a fish for swimming. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I know you young guys may not be used to it, so
Yeah,
that's maybe
called
that's
control. Called control and discipline.
So I just got a couple more questions here for you guys. You know, you might not know Alvin, but on this show, I am Mr. Consistency. So I like to keep us to an hour, and we are 20 minutes from that. So I'm gonna just get to the last few questions I
running
have.
low on beer anyway.
Oh, all right, all right. So, what are your guys' thoughts on, as far as I heard before the performance, Drake was, you know, very heavily involved in trying to get him not to perform like us, and also that Drake is even trying to sue Kendrick. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like Drake has any legs to stand on? Do you think he just needs to take his L's and go? What are your thoughts overall, Eric?
Man, this is beyond an L. What's worse than an L?
Yeah, I mean,
like
an F minus, like
man, he got slaughtered. I mean, I've seen a lot of one-way rap beefs. I've seen competitive rap beefs. I thought when Eminem smashed and ruined Machine Guns Kelly career so bad to the point that he had to switch genres. This is worse than that. Are you guys familiar with the Eminem Machine Gun Kelly beef?
Yeah.
Well, Princeton, please look it up.
Okay.
I mean, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. It's worse when Ice Cube destroyed the entire NWA by himself in the map. It's worse than that. It's hard for Drake to recover from that. I mean, would you want to really perform with Drake on an album if he came out with an album? Would you want to perform?
I heard he has an album coming out on Valentine's Day with Party Next Door.
Yeah.
Party Next Door.
We'll see. It's not gonna be raps. I'm telling you that. It's all gonna be all
it never is.
All R&B.
If he's smart, he will keep Kendrick's name out of his mouth. But maybe that old Canadian pride is probably gonna kick in, and he thinks he still can compete. No, man, it's over for Drake, at least when it comes to like battle raps. I'm gonna close with this. The irony is that I put a YouTube video. It was maybe about like 9 years old, right before Obama left office, when he had a reporter had a hypothetical situation because Drake was coming off of a beef with somebody else. He was like, well, what do you think would happen if Drake and Kendrick Lamar wind up getting into it? And President Obama was like, yeah, Drake is a good entertainer, but he was like, but lyric wise, he was like, he needs to leave Kendrick alone.
He predicted it. He predicted it.
He predicted it. I'm like, damn. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I'm like,
what
maybe. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just gonna ask Alvin what he thinks, if he thinks
man
had any legs to stand on.
Man, that Canadian shit. It's not. I don't have anything against Canadians in general.
Yeah,
I just don't like that Canadian. I just don't like that Canadian guy. This shit. I hope this just stops. I don't want to hear any tough talk, Drake. Like, I don't want to hear any of the tough Drake. Stay to the, the women, the women. Yeah. Your fans are women mostly. You got some. Some I know some. I got some friends that are Drake fans that are males, but because I mean Drake, if you get him on like a feature or something, but I'm not gonna listen to an album called Certified Lover Boy, especially when now after this, I see what happened to the Certified Lover Boy on wax. Like, Drake, stop the tough talk. We don't want to hear. Just go ahead and just go and just stay, making R&B songs, keep singing, and then rap on hooks and stuff.
There was a couple of good songs on the album. There was a couple good ones.
Certified Lover Boy.
There was like one.
I couldn't give it a shot. I tried not to judge books by their cover, but if it's a fucked up cover, why should I look for it? Why should I look at the pages?
That's a good point. So, last question I have about the halftime show for you guys is, Eric was going through the years after I pointed it out of as far as the performers who have been at these halftime shows. It's been a lot of performers of color. lately. Do you think that's going to keep up next year? Do you think we're going to get another, whether it be hip hop, R&B, whatever genre? Do you think it'll be another performer of color, or do you think we're going to get I don't know, maybe some rock, some another genre in there? Eric, what do you think?
You know what? I'm almost thinking that he might do Jelly Roll. So I'm almost thinking that no, it's not going to be, but Jelly Roll would be somebody who would appear to the multitudes, because he's not your traditional country singer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking maybe somebody that has like a range in terms of doing of appealing to different types of music. I think he's done a pretty good job, but I didn't think about it until you brought it up, Prince, and that the majority of the people up under Jay-Z watch, they have been people of color.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they should be. That's what he's supposed to do. But hey, keep doing it.
Right.
Since they love our culture so much, here every year. Since you love it so much, here, take it next year too.
he did throw Shakira and J-Lo in there.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, Eminem was there. Did we really classify Eminem as a white person in Detroit?
We do, but
only when they want to talk about he's not a good rapper, then they bring up that he's white.
Oh, okay.
But they want to argue him.
It's just interesting to me because I think compared at least to the NBA, the NFL is considered more conservative. So it's interesting that we keep getting these halftime performances. But like you said, Eric, and like my dad said, Jay-Z has a say in the halftime performers.
Yeah.
He does make sense. Other thing I have besides that, as far as Sunday went, was this will be a quick one. I don't know if you all sat through the commercials or watching the commercials. Those are some of the funniest ones. I had a few. I don't know if you had any that stood out to y'all. So there were two that were funny, and one I was just confused by. The two that I thought were okay. One that I thought was hilarious was y'all saw the seal when Seal.
Yes.
Seal.
Yes, like oh my God,
singing this song.
That was too funny.
Yeah.
And then when it was just about over, then they turned him into like seals. Like damn, he still looked like a seal.
Yeah. I thought that one was pretty funny to me. And then I think it was DoorDash. I want to say they had a commercial, and it had like all the famous people in the commercials of the past. It had like the Old Spice guy, and it had like the caveman, I want to say, and it had them all. I was confused with what the commercial was at first, and then it ended. It was like DoorDash, and I was like, okay, I guess that's a DoorDash commercial. And my dad said Tom Brady and Sellout Dog was pretty good.
Sellout.
I don't remember that one. What's that one?
It's about the hate. It's a.
Going
back and forth.
Yeah, I remember.
And Stu was like, it's a shame that we even have to do a commercial. Like, right.
Yeah, that one was okay. And then the last one, okay, this, I don't know if you guys saw this, because I was talking with my friends at work, and they said they didn't even see this. But do y'all see the Kanye commercial? Where, was it Kanye? I think it was when he was in like looked like a dentist chair, and he was just like looking into the camera, and he was like, well, I used all my money to get a spot for this commercial, and he was just looking at the TV, and he was just like, and that was it. That was the commercial. And then at the end of it, it was just like,
I didn't catch that one.
It was just like Yeezy.com. And that was the commercial. It was the weirdest commercial ever. And now I'm finding out like not a lot of people even saw it. I don't know if it was only shown somewhere, but it said Yeezy.com. And then I found out that they even took the site down because he was selling.
It said swastikas.
Yeah, he was selling t-shirts with swastikas.
Yeah, I did see that part.
Yeah.
What's wrong with
him? Look, as I said, it's on par. As soon as you say Kanye, he's just like, you expect weird, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as you be like Kanye, he's like, all right, it's about to get weird.
Yeah. So
my favorite one was the Rocket one. Rocket Mortgage, Rocket Loans. That was a good one about the unity and all of that. That was a, that was a lot of the commercials. Like the seal one is probably like the first one I probably like remember laughing on. Like I actually laughed. A lot of them I'm like, yeah, like come on, Doritos. Doritos had a good one. But other than that, I'm like, I'm like, what happened this year? I don't know. The price too high? Like I don't know.
Shit, $8 million for a 60-second spot? Hell yeah, that's high.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super expensive. Any stand out to you, Eric?
Yeah, there was one that stood out other than the ones you brought out. Harrison Ford when he did the Dodge commercial.
Oh yeah, he said even though my last name is
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
This is kind of true. Commercials aren't as good these days. It's tough.
Yeah, that's what I like. I kind of expected because I don't know. I guess because I don't know. We've seen so many. I don't know.
It's like the dunk contest.
Like how many more funny things can So
yeah, that's true. Well, we've got 10 minutes left, so we always.
I've been watching the Pistons game in the background, and Cade been going crazy.
Well, that's funny because I was just about to say we got 10 minutes left. We finish off with our This Day in History and spitballing, but before you go, Alvin, I just wanted to get, because we talked about this a little, but weren't able to hear your thoughts. First of all, your thoughts on the Pistons. How do you feel about them this year? First year, and I want to say it said since 2017, Pistons had an all-star period in Cade, and they're in like the 6th seed right now.
Yeah, 6th seed.
Holding tough. About to make any noise?
Yeah. That Dennis Schroeder pickup, I think that was pretty big. Down the line, he's a vet. He got a lot of good experience. Give Cade some rest. Cade, man, going to work. Man, night in, night out. Cade is so smooth, man. I'm so glad he got to be an all-star. Man, Cade is that guy. Malik Beasley, that's my man coming off the bench. He told, trading late in the GM, like, look, please don't trade me. I want to be here. That's saying something, So I like JB Biggerstaff. I was so happy when Cleveland fired him because he really made that turnaround for them. The coach for Cleveland now, he's doing a Steve Kerr what Mark Jackson did.
I agree.
They were pretty much already rocking and rolling. They're pretty much already established. So I think that was a great pickup for the Pistons, and I think it is showing. I think that's across all Detroit sports. You can see the difference in what leadership makes.
100%.
Once you get the right people in, and that's how it should go from top down. You know what I'm saying? Once you got guys that's competent, that's aware, that's got their ear to the streets, knowing what's going on as far as the league goes, and know how to assemble teams and assemble coaching staffs, you can see the difference. So I'm really excited for the Pistons. Like it's great to see now. Like before, I'm just watching just because I'm a Detroit fan.
Right.
How your Lions fans been. But now they're getting to be, Pistons getting to be actually, respectable, and so it's good to see. I love what the Pistons are doing.
Agreed. I think it's nice that they seem to have an identity now. There was this weird. First of all, it started off that weird time when they had like Josh Smith, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond.
Ben
I
Gordon.
had no idea what was going on there.
Yeah.
Then they had that
Malik
weird
Beasley
time.
is what we thought Ben Gordon would be.
Yeah.
Right.
The Blake Griffin, Reggie Jackson era was
just to put ass in seats. LTA. It was a new stadium. Like, look, we got to bring somebody in. But he actually brought him to the playoffs. So
that's true.
And
I don't know. I didn't even like when and then they were experimenting with centers for a while when they had like James Wiseman, when they had Duran, and then they had Marvin Bagley. They've just been experimenting for so long. So it's nice to see them finally like have an identity, have some consistent. I hate what happened to Ivy. I hate that. He went down because I thought he was going to be the second scoring option.
Yeah, he was. He was. They were really gelling and coming along, and he was on a crazy 3 streak right before he got hurt too. So he had like 3 or 4 straight games with like 5 or 6 threes or something right before he got hurt.
Yeah. So hate to see it. And then lastly, just wanted to ask you about the Luka trade. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about it overall?
with that really justifies how like how players are controlling their own destiny.
Yeah.
Now, that makes me even more give say good power to the players because like regardless of the swap, what I'm saying, just how, just to keep that under wraps, just, I think
Yeah.
that's
Not
kind
say
of,
nothing.
being that young for Luca, what I'm saying, like Anthony Davis already, but also you got to, that shows you got to do what's best for you, whatever you feel, if you in a, what I'm saying, in whatever position, if you're granted, control over, you got to do what's best for you, that you feel is the best for you. So if they feel that that was their best for them, well, I hope I hope it works out for them. But that's crazy. That's definitely was unexpected. I'm sitting. I was sitting at the bar and I'm like,
Mhm.
Luca for. I'm like, and then it was like ESPN. I'm like, this is real.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
So,
I was here. My dad told me, he was like, "Yeah, Luca got traded for AD," and I was just thinking, like, "Yeah, okay,
yeah,
all right, yeah, that's not real. Let's see when the real news comes out." Then
yeah.
found out like the next day that it was real, and I was like, "What? What were they? What were they thinking? What was he smoking?"
Man.
And hindsight's 2020, I guess, but most people I feel like saw this coming. Anthony Davis is injured already,
No,
so.
man.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's gonna be out for a
that
month.
was.
I mean,
Hey, they know that they traded for street clothes.
yeah.
That is crazy.
So that's that. But really appreciate you coming on, Alvin, talking some sports with us, talking some football, talking the halftime show and the commercials. Really appreciate you filling in. Thank you so much. And you're always welcome to come on anytime you want. So really appreciate you.
For sure.
Appreciate you.
All right. Catch you later, Alvin.
Yeah, have another beer for us.
No,
Right.
definitely will.
All right. Well, as Mr. Consistency, we got 3 minutes left. I'm going to hit you with this day in history. Eric's going to follow us up with some spitballing. So, what I got for you guys today is on this day, 1909. So, not only was Eric born, but also a diverse group of social reformers. Oh man, I'm going to slaughter all these names if I say them. So, I'm just going to say that today, in 1909 was when the NAACP was formed. And they chose this date to coincide with the birthday of President Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I didn't actually know that last part. I didn't know that they made the day to coincide with Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So that's interesting.
All right. Well, I'm just curious. So, do you know what NAACP actually stands for?
Oh, don't put me on the spot. It's
Okay.
I do
I'm just curious.
um I do, but I can't. Okay, maybe not off the top of my head, but I'm sure I know it once you say it. You wrote it, so of course you know. All right,
All right.
go for it. Hit me with the knowledge.
Okay. No, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let
No,
you
no,
research it.
now
No, I don't want to embarrass you.
no, now. I mean, it's too late. I already said I can't think of it off the top of my head. What is
See
it?
the. Let me see if I can remember.
See,
N
see.
is
Look, you
for
asked
no.
me.
Hold on. Say the national in a National Association of Advancement of Colored People. Yeah, look it up. Look it up.
Even even I would say. Oh, look. Now you got my black card taken away. Oh man. Um, what is I remember.
It's right there.
Sorry, I was reading a comment that was
It's
weird. Weird.
oh,
But
yeah, that's okay.
all right.
And I
So
wonder who was your
that's
dad? Who
that.
was your dad?
So
Was no, I'm sorry. I was wondering who
now
was your
I got
dad
my
talking
black card.
about black card being revoked. Was he talking about you?
Yeah, yeah. He took my black
Damn,
card. So
he is
I
savage. He don't show no mercy.
it's taken like every year though, so it is what it is. I get it back eventually. But set you up for spitballing. What you got?
Uh, really two things. So one, honestly, it's first thing is about Detroit sports, and I'll be real quick to keep it up under an hour. The one thing that I noticed about Detroit sports is that all of the teams in Detroit seem to have came up at the same time, right after the Lions um, took on the grit persona. The Red Wings are doing well. The Tigers did well. The Pistons are doing well, and of course the Lions. And one thing about Detroiters is that we are extremely resilient. So I am so glad that all of our sports teams have finally took the identity of the city. The other thing that I'd like to bring up real quick is the fact that we are definitely are in some very, very interesting times. When the election cycle rolls around, don't just wait for the presidential cycle. Please make sure that you vote your state and your local governments, because a lot of the things that are happening is because we've basically allowed people to be put in place that do not want to protect our interest. So those are the two things that I wanted to bring up, and we definitely appreciate you. So Princeton, you can get back to the big screen.
That was good. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
So yeah, that's all we got today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And just want to say, as far as next week's show, we don't have the title for it. We are going to get it to you guys, and we apologize. We know we have done that a few weeks now, but going forward, we are going to have the show ready for you guys at least a week ahead, and we're going to be getting that out so you guys can know what to look forward to. So it's been from our mouths to your ears. Deuces.
Deuces, oozes.